Hi class, this is social work with alcohol and substance abuse disorders. This is a very important chapter. Um, as we see now with the social work profession, we see mental health and substance abuse are one and the same. So we definitely need to be aware of this unique population of individuals that we help who maybe have alcohol and substance use disorders. So, of course, the learning outcomes explain how the profession's history with the substance use disorder field evolved over time, identify the critical components of professional practice, explain the current classification of substances, compare and contrast models of prevention for treatment of substance use disorder, and discuss social justice and human rights issues that we face in the United States. Forgive me, U.S. social welfare policy related to substance use disorder. So our case study is Mr. Dan Graves. Please complete a multidimensional framework on this individual. You have some modifying phrases here or bullet points to assist you from a biological, psychological, and social perspective. So please reference your book. It'd be wonderful if you can do this multidimensional framework with this population um, to assist as a medical social worker or a social worker who assists individuals with substance use and alcohol disorders. So professional competencies, we always need to demonstrate professional behavior, appearance, and communication. Boundaries are going to be what is needed. And then we need to also appraise and integrate multiple sources of knowledge. Use research evidence to inform practice is very important. Then our plan change process is always important. Engagement, assessment, intervention, and evaluation. Our boundaries and our professional roles are going to be most important with this population to ensure that they're not crossed, and also the plan change process as we assist these individuals um, in this population. So the early history of social work involvement, Mary Richmond was a very, very big person to read about. Um, and she proposed the use of the term inebriety to replace drunkenness and the term patient to replace culprit. And she also developed an interview guide for assessments of clients and was the director of the Russell Sage Foundation's charity organization department in New York City. Please read about Mary Richmond's role with substance use disorder and alcohol usage, or alcohol disorders as well. It's very important. So please note in your book, and please reference your book, I'm sorry. So social work contributions and leadership evolve. So in 1956, the American Medical Association declares alcoholism a disease. So now it's looking from a disease perspective as opposed to a moral perspective. Some other important things with SAMHSA with Charles Curie, and then also the Association for Medical Educators and Researchers in Substance Abuse was Mary Ann Amedio. So please reference these bullet points and become familiar. Critical care components of professional practice. So values and ethics issues in alcohol and drug use disorder field. Very important to always remember people have value and they have dignity and worth when we help these individuals. The problem-solving process is very similar to our plan change process. Engagement, assessment, they're saying using the audit tool of DSM-5. That's where the mental health and the substance abuse are merging here. The intervention can be micro, meso, macro level and evaluation. And then SAMHSA, which is different levels of drinking you need to be aware of. So diversity. So remember that alcoholism, substance abuse usage is across the board, across all cultures, across all at-risk populations. So this talks about how women who drink, which can have fetal alcohol syndrome, older adults are drinking to cope or to use drugs to cope. Many different minority groups are using substances to cope, along with majority groups too. That's not listed here. And persons with gay, lesbian, or transgender are doing the same, and persons with disabilities as well. So you see, this is across the board. This is utilize these substances. So then there's the classes of substances used. So you have the popular substances here you should be familiar with. Please reference your book for more knowledge. The same here. And then the European prevention and treatment approach, the harm reduction model, right? So the harm reduction reduces the harm associated with using chemical substances, including alcohol. Methadone and needle exchange are popular programs that came from the harm reduction model. It's a public health perspective. So it's looking at the overall health of the public and saying, hey, if these individuals it takes the criminality out of using substances. It says, hey, these individuals are going to use, let's make that environment as safe as possible for them and also for the public health. So there's no needles going around, there's no broken glass going around, there's no pills, there's no razors, those things to help or any member of the population can be exposed to. So that's a public health perspective. And of course, it decriminalizes drug use, so no criminal history with it. And it comes from a strength-based perspective. Then we have the U.S. model, which is similar. One example is Alcoholics Anonymous. It's a 12-step program. It's a fellowship of people who share their experiences and seek to help themselves and others in recovering from alcoholism. They use sponsors for anyone in alcohol use related, and AA generally seen as effective. However, the nature of AA has been hard to have empirical evidence, tangible data that shows that it's being effective, and it's difficult to document. It still has a criminalization towards drug usage. It's not resolved here. So this alcohol usage and substance use is heavily focused on the biophysical and the psychological aspects of people, but we also remember these individuals live in an environment, so we cannot take the social aspects of things away. So remember our human behavior in the social environment and our person in the environment and the ecosystem perspective. So they're saying home ownership and neighborhood revitalizations are protective against high rates of substance use. Okay. Recent economic recession. Okay. And then they talk about the Germany and Netherlands approach. Please use that. Please reference that and learn more about that. And how social work policies of the countries govern the ability of social work programs. So how laws affect policy and dealing with the supply of drugs, right? And also demand in environments too, supply and demand. So shifts in U.S. and social welfare policy. So we talk about the Pilgrims, how the Industrial Revolution influenced it. The Harrison Narcotics Act is very important to be familiar. 18th Amendment to the Constitution, also known as the Volstead Act, and the repeal of prohibition. Please reference these points and make yourself aware. The Narcotic Drug Control Act. In 1960, there was a massive increase in the use of drugs. What was going on around that time? Was there a war that may have influenced things? The Comprehensive Drug Abuse Prevention and Control Act. It reclassified substances and increased penalties for usage. And also the Reagan administration, the federal government shift from funding toward the use of law enforcement and prison sentence to curtail the use of seller drugs. So it put the more criminal aspects for people who were selling drugs and using drugs around this time frame. So you're going to see more people being incarcerated. And typically, these individuals were for the low-level crimes. And so these were typically selling crack or miscellaneous drugs like that. And so these were our at-risk minority, males primarily, and females too, and black and brown people that we need to be aware about. So federal funding reduced around the 1980s from prevention and treatment of substances, right? So not only puts the criminality in prison is one of the things that they send people for, or jail too. So value placed on incarceration, enforcement of laws restricting access. But all it does is, typically, it doesn't have that effect. I wonder what the book says would be the effect, so I would reference that. You may want to be aware of that. And the federal government is dependent on income from alcohol. So is that why alcohol maybe is not illegal? The Native American tribes as well as states rely on income from legal drug usage or alcohol, although through potential addictive gambling, right? I'm sorry, I read that wrong. So Native American tribes as well as states rely on income from legal, although potentially addictive gambling. So, they're making profits. So is that why it's legal? Is it legal because the governments are making the profits and reaping the benefits? Social justice and human rights versus criminalization. So you need to be aware about the 1971 war on drugs, the criminalization of drug use, and the 2010 Fair Sentencing Act. All very important things you need to be aware of as a social worker, and how African American prison system had grown significantly as a result of war on drugs. African Americans within the prison system, let's just say. And then it talks about, too, another social justice concern, the growing support for lock them up policy of political conservatives, right? So please read over these bullet points in your book and reference these for further knowledge base. And then we talk about the marijuana legalization. Although it's still illegal under federal law, states can make it legal. So the federal government advised Native American tribes that they could grow and sell marijuana. So as the need for the drug is going up, people are using it, but now it's legal. Is it legal because the states and the, the federal government hasn't gathered yet, but the states and the Native American tribes can gain money from tax dollars and revenue? Then the DSM-5, which is our assessment tool, psychiatric assessment tool, seeks to improve understanding and decrease stigmatization for persons with substance use and disorders. Okay, so that's our PowerPoint. If you have any questions, please reach out to your professor. Have a great day and thank you for listening.